Hi, thank you, Steve Dahl, for inviting us today to give a pitch about Beyond Exploration's 2 products that are going to protect us from dust and microbes as well as from radiation. The first product is based on our license of NASA's Lotus coating. NASA developed this coating to protect the astronauts from lunar dust and microbes, and the pandemic showed that there is a huge opportunity to protect ourselves on Earth from dust and microbes. Our job as a company is to take the formula that they have and transform it into a spray, which is easier to use by consumers as well as companies. This slide shows the huge market for protective coatings in the United States, billions and billions of dollars across all industries. We plan to focus on the construction, industrial, and marine industries, and we will be getting certifications that are required for coatings to be applied in those industries. We chose those 3 industries because they are forecast to have a higher growth rate over the next decade. Just as a reminder, NASA invented the Lotus coating to be used on the moon, and we will now show you what happened after we received the bill of materials for the Lotus coating. The coating has a chemical called FOTS. FOTS is in almost all the modern coatings. Has an FDA warning that it causes cancer. FOTS is even in Teflon, and it is used in the coatings that coat our cell phone screens. We decided that we're not going to go that route, and we're going to make one of the innovative and leading green coatings that is free from FOTS, which has an FDA warning. We believe we will have a big market share, especially if we start now when there are very few companies who are making green coatings today. If you search patents, there are 52 new Chinese patents for coatings in the past couple of years. None of them are free from FOTS. So we definitely have an invention there, and we're doing our best to protect our intellectual property. The slide also shows a picture from NASA that shows how a surface looks like when they apply the Lotus coating to it compared to a surface that is unprotected by the Lotus coating. Both surfaces receive the same amount of dust. Other companies around the world are trying to market hydrophobic coatings, which are similar to NASA's Lotus coating. However, as far as we know, our coating is the only one that is free from FOTS. And here we share with you the U.S. green coating market by technology. The market is forecast to increase, and we plan to have a market share in the black section, which is the waterborne, and in the top green section, which is the UV cure market. Allied Market Research predicts that the biggest increase in the green coatings market in the world will be in the waterborne coatings, which they expect to increase by 30% by 2030. We will do our best so that our waterborne green coatings get a big market share. Our second product was after we started researching how to replace FOTS, we said we can use these inventions and expand them to make radiation-resistant shields. The Earth's atmosphere protects us from most of the sun's radiation. This radiation increases as we move away from the Earth's atmosphere so that the satellites that are in the low Earth orbit have radiation that's complex. However, this radiation increases as we move away from the Earth. Radiation on the moon is very complex, and we need to protect the equipment that we put in outer space from radiation, especially if we plan to send equipment on the moon and Mars for any length of time. The radiation-resistant shield that we invented is a 3D printed double layer that has our proprietary radiation-resistant formula, and we will put samples of the things we want to protect from radiation inside. Once you have our formula, you can 3D print any shape and protect any equipment. If you would like to know our formula, the slide has the hints. This shows the radiation resistance of different species. Humans have no almost radiation resistance. There is literature that has been written and scientific experiments since the 50s about different species that have 5,000 times more radiation resistance than we do. And Japan and other countries have taken these species to outer space, and they proved that they can withstand radiation in space. There's a lot of literature since the 1950s about this species and the resistance to radiation, but no patents that were given for radiation-resistant shields. So we are doing our best to protect our intellectual property. There's a huge market for radiation-resistant shields and radiation-resistant coatings. This slide shows some of those markets. Today, there are companies that are making self-cleaning glass and others that are trying to coat glass to decrease the amount of ultraviolet light passing through. There are so many new inventions, and we will do our best to get a market share from all those industries. We understand we need to follow regulations and get certifications for each industry we want to work in, and that is what we are prepared to do today. To prove that our products work, we will be testing them with Professor Ziegfeld Klenzer's High Energy Lab at Stanford's Linear Accelerator. They agreed to test our products because they feel they will work, and they said that once they show that our products work, they will send them to Germany to be tested with 4 times as much radiation. Our job now is to create as many as 12 samples and give them to SLAC. And once they test them, they will publish everything. And that's why we need to have a protection of our intellectual property before we do these experiments. And now it's time to discuss how much money we will need and when we will become profitable. In the first few months, we are in the red. Then after 6 or 8 months, we start to make a profit. Our profits will continue to increase as our green coatings become well known in the construction, maritime, and industrial sectors, and as more companies start buying our radiation-resistant shields. Thank you for listening, and please contact us if you're interested in our radiation-resistant shields or in our green Interstellar coatings.